So this movie's about Viola Hastings, played by Amanda Bynes. She's this super talented soccer player whose world gets turned upside down when her school Cornwall cuts the girls' team. She's absolutely soccer obsessed and honestly better than most of the guys on the boys' team, including her boyfriend Justin. But when she tries to join the boys' team, this totally sexist coach Pistonek just shuts her down. Things get messy when Justin, instead of backing her up, actually laughs at her for wanting to try out for the boys' team. Naturally, she dumps him. But here's where it gets interesting. Her twin brother Sebastian, who's always getting into trouble and just got kicked out of Cornwall for skipping too much, is supposed to start at their rival school, Illyria. Thing is, he wants to run off to London with his band for some competition. Sebastian cooks up this whole scheme where Viola should cover for him at Illyria while he's gone. Their divorced parents are pretty clueless. Dad Roger and Mom Daphne each think Sebastian's staying with the other one. Meanwhile, Viola's got her own drama with her mom pushing her to do this super outdated debutante thing, which she absolutely hates. Oh, and there's this girl Monique who's dating Sebastian, just to add another layer to this whole situation. So Viola gets this wild idea. She's gonna pretend to be Sebastian at Illyria and join their boys' soccer team. She ropes in her friend Paul, who's this amazing stylist, and her girlfriends to help transform her into a pretty convincing guy version of her brother. Her main goal? She wants to show up her ex Justin, who's the goalkeeper for Cornwall and was such a jerk about her soccer skills. There's this intense coach at Illyria named Dinklage, played by Vinnie Jones, who runs the team, and Viola's determined to make it work. She's basically thinking, what better way to prove everyone wrong than to beat Cornwall while pretending to be a guy? Pretty gutsy move, if you ask me. So Viola ends up rooming with this incredibly good-looking soccer player named Duke Orsino. Yeah, Channing Tatum plays him. She has this totally awkward moment when Duke finds tampons in her bag, and she has to think fast and claims they're for nosebleeds. Like, who would even buy that? Her start on the team isn't great. She gets stuck on second string, which drives her crazy. She's constantly having to come up with these ridiculous excuses, like telling everyone she's allergic to the sun to avoid changing her shirt in public. And then there's this hazing thing for the new players that she barely escapes from by pulling the fire alarm. Everyone at school thinks Sebastian is this total dweeb, so Viola convinces her friends Kia and Yvonne to come by and flirt with her like crazy to make her look cooler to the guys. But then things get super complicated when Sebastian's actual girlfriend Monique shows up, and Viola has to literally run for it. Here's where it gets really messy. This girl Olivia, who's Sebastian's lab partner, starts falling for him. The irony? Duke is totally into Olivia, and here he is asking his roommate, who he thinks is Sebastian, for help winning her over. They make this deal where Duke will help Sebastian with extra soccer practice if Sebastian helps him get closer to Olivia. Things start looking up when Coach Dinklage finally moves her up to first string. But the whole situation gets even more twisted when Viola realizes Duke is completely hopeless at talking to girls, so now she's giving him dating advice, while pretending to be a guy. If you enjoyed the video so far, don't forget to like and subscribe because we make video about movies and TV show. So if you are interested in it, go ahead and subscribe us. What are you waiting for? So, there's this Junior League carnival that both Viola and her brother promised their mom they'd help out at, and wouldn't you know it, Duke has to be there too because his mom's involved. This turns into this absolutely insane situation where Viola is literally running around changing clothes and switching between being herself and Sebastian the whole time. She's basically playing a crazy game of hide-and-seek, trying to dodge her mom and Sebastian's girlfriend Monique so she doesn't get caught. Then things get really interesting at the kissing booth. Duke's been waiting to kiss Olivia there, but he misses his chance when her shift ends. But plot twist, guess who takes over? Viola. So Duke and the real Viola finally meet, and they share this amazing kiss, until Justin, her ex, shows up and ruins everything. Duke and Justin end up getting into this whole macho argument that they decide they'll settle during their upcoming soccer game. The best part? Duke starts realizing he's got feelings for not just Olivia anymore, but Viola too. Talk about complicated. And here's Sebastian, who's actually Viola, playing matchmaker and telling Duke he should go for it with Viola. I mean, how much more tangled can this get, right? So Viola, still playing Sebastian, tries to let Olivia down easy by telling her she's not his type. But this totally backfires because Olivia decides to date Duke just to make Sebastian jealous. She's still totally hung up on him, not Duke. Meanwhile, Duke's actually falling for Olivia and agrees to go out with her, even though Sebastian keeps trying to nudge him toward the real Viola instead. Things get even more awkward when Sebastian crashes their date by turning it into this weird double-date situation, bringing along Eunice as his date. Talk about desperate moves. But here's where it gets really messy. Viola runs into Olivia at this debutante ball prep thing, and being herself this time, she actually encourages Olivia to go after Sebastian, which is actually her. The whole thing explodes when Olivia and Monique get into this huge catfight. Olivia's basically rubbing it in Monique's face that Sebastian dumped her, not knowing she's actually fighting over someone who isn't even really Sebastian. The whole situation is just one giant mess of misunderstandings at this point. Just when you think things couldn't get more chaotic, the real Sebastian shows up a day early from London, completely clueless about what's been going on. Here's the kicker. He'd actually left Monique a voicemail telling her he was in London but heading back home. When Monique gets this message, everything starts clicking into place. If Sebastian was in London this whole time, who the heck has been walking around campus pretending to be him? Talk about terrible timing. Now Monique's starting to put the pieces together, and Viola's whole scheme is about to unravel. So the real Sebastian shows up at Illyria, and before he can even figure out what's going on, Olivia runs up and plants this huge kiss on him, obviously thinking he's the same Sebastian she's been crushing on all this time. Duke sees this whole thing go down and completely loses it, feeling totally betrayed by his roommate. He gets into this heated argument with Sebastian, who's actually Viola, and kicks her out of their room. With nowhere else to go, Viola ends up crashing in Eunice's room. But here's where everything really hits the fan. She oversleeps the next morning, missing the big game against Cornwall that she's been working towards this whole time. And guess who ends up on the field in her place? The real Sebastian. He has no clue he's walking into the biggest game of the season, the one his sister's been preparing for all this time. So everything comes crashing down when Principal Gold shows up in the middle of the game. Turns out Monique, Malcolm, and a couple other students had spilled the beans about Sebastian actually being Viola. Gold stops the game and dramatically announces to everyone that Sebastian is actually a girl. But here's the thing. It's the real Sebastian on the field, and he's pretty quick to prove he's definitely not his sister by showing everyone the rather obvious evidence. During halftime, Viola finally gets a chance to explain this whole crazy situation to her brother. Sebastian, being a surprisingly cool brother about the whole thing, agrees to switch places with her so she can finally play in the game she's been working so hard for. Talk about a wild way to clear up a case of mistaken identity. So Viola finally comes clean to everyone in the middle of the game, and I mean really comes clean if you know what I mean, proving once and for all that she's definitely not Sebastian. But here's the best part. Coach Dinklage, instead of freaking out, totally has her back. He puts that sexist Cornwall coach in his place, basically saying, "Hey, at Illyria, we care about talent, not gender." The game comes down to this super intense moment. Viola's facing off against her ex, Justin, for a penalty kick. Duke, despite being hurt by all the lies, steps up and makes this amazing save, then passes the ball to Viola, who scores the winning goal. Everyone's going crazy celebrating, except Duke, who's still processing the fact that his roommate turned out to be this girl he's actually got feelings for. Viola's not giving up on Duke, though. She invites him to her debutante ball, and they end up having this romantic moment in the garden before heading in. When they're introduced at the ball, they share this amazing kiss that pretty much makes everyone forget about all the drama. And get this, fast forward a year later, and these two are still going strong, both playing first string on Illyria's now co-ed soccer team. Talk about a perfect ending, right? They basically changed the whole system while falling in love. That is it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed the video. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe us because that is how we can grow and make more video for you guys. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.